I'd like to begin with a fact, a simple yet shocking fact. It is this: a flood tide of filth is engulfing our country in the form of newsstand obscenity.
In December 1953, the first issue of Playboy appeared on shelves across America. Content became more graphic as they competed with Penthouse to attract and retain readers. By 1972, 1/4 of all American college men were reading Playboy. Then edgier magazines like Screw and Hustler made their debut. By the 1990s, porn magazines were a global phenomenon.
It went from being under the counter, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, shame and secrecy to being front page news. Loaded magazine was accused of being a porn magazine, as I was accused of being a pornographer. I had a phone number, I had an email address, we had a big office. People knew where to get me. Who was making porn? No one knew. I became a staunch defender of pornography, even though I wasn't a pornographer in my eyes. I went around the top universities in the UK, Oxford, Cambridge, Durham, taking part in huge debates with members of parliament, lawmakers, judges. I annihilated them. And then we started to realise that pornography was changing.
I was just playing this really fun game where you had to jump over things with the red ball. And all of a sudden, this pop-up comes in the corner, and you click on it, and it's this porn site. And I'm like, whoa, that was weird. So I click on the X, and I keep playing my game. For the few seconds that I saw it, I couldn't get it out of my head for the rest of the day. You almost feel like a little craving, but at first, you think it's curiosity, not a craving. The addiction really all started in 3rd grade when I was 9 years old. I wanted to do what the older people were doing.
It was an older kid from down the street who had said a few things and look up a few things, and you decide to do that, click on those pop-up ads.
He was giving me these little tip words that will get you the right thing that you want. And I typed this up and I'm like, whoa, now this makes sense.
Playboy, Penthouse and Hustler definitely laid the groundwork for today's porn industry. I mean, you had to basically groom the American culture into accepting pornography.
My name is Martin Daubney. I'm 45, I'm a journalist. I'm most known for being the editor of Loaded magazine. That was Britain's biggest lifestyle magazine for young men. Our demographic was typically sort of 15 to 45, so lads and dads. The magazine launched in 1994. Britain was going through a great period of social upheaval where hedonism was being celebrated. They wanted to, for the first time, be able to look at pictures of scantily clad women in their bikinis. Celebrities still had great writing and won loads of awards and shifted loads of units, but created this moral issue of, were these magazines, was my magazine, switching a generation on to harder stuff. Right about in that spectrum, about 2002 in the UK, broadband internet became available to the masses for the first time. Suddenly, woof, and there was an explosion of internet pornography in the UK.
I was part of the first generation that grew up with unlimited access to internet porn. When I was 8 years old, I found a Playboy magazine. When I was 10, I started watching softcore porn on, late night cable TV, MTV, and BET booty shaking videos. And by age 12, that's when my family got high-speed internet. From that moment on, I started watching internet porn daily.
Pornography has historically fallen into 2 categories: softcore and hardcore. Softcore shows partial nudity and suggestive scenarios, while hardcore contains explicit sex and graphic penetration. But all that changed with the internet. What used to be classified as softcore pornography is now just part of everyday mainstream culture. Today's hardcore porn has hundreds of subgenres. There's feature porn, which typically has sets and acting and Hollywood-style camera work. Gonzo pornography, which used to be a small, fringe genre, has become particularly popular. Often shot with a point-of-view camera, it's violent and degrading, including choking, beating, and far worse.
Now, whereas his father came up with Playboy, the son is now catapulted into a world of sexual cruelty and violence. What happened is it became so hardcore so quickly that actually that's the only thing the porn industry produces. And what you found is softcore porn has migrated into pop culture. So now pop culture is really where you would have had Playboy or maybe Penthouse 15 years ago. Now, if you make pop culture more softcore, then what you have to do is continue to make pornography more hardcore as a way to distinguish the two.